One of the most devastating things for a man is when he gets caught up chasing and pursuing this one particular kind of girl. A guy will waste months, sometimes even years, chasing after this particular girl, and he'll get nothing in return for all of this effort and all of this chasing that he's doing. And do you know which kind of girl this is in particular? It's the one who isn't interested in him. If men could make this one small change of going from chasing after girls who are clearly not interested to investing their time elsewhere, this would save them so much heartbreak. And I know this because this is what I did for years, chasing after girls growing up, where I thought, oh, if only they could see like how much I really loved them, how I was going to be the one who would take care of them, and they would be so in love and raptured by that if they could just see me for what I have to offer. So I'm just going to keep turning up and showing and putting all this effort in. But it never worked. And in this video, I want to break down to you why exactly it's so deadly for guys to be caught in this loop of chasing after girl when they've never given any signs they're interested. And in fact, they've probably given some signs that they aren't interested. And then I'm going to tell you and walk you through exactly what I did to get out of this loop of constantly being in that pursuer mode of going after people that never wanted me back. So firstly, why is it so deadly? Okay, let's look at this situation. We're in it. You're there, you're investing all this time. There's this one girl like in your head, whether it's someone you work with, it's someone that you go to school with, whatever it is, you've created this girl that you've created this world in your mind of what that relationship would be like between you, of how amazing it would be of you being together, and you're probably friends, you interact with her and you're always nice and you're always chasing, you're putting this effort in, you're carefully structuring your texts, like really thinking him through of everything you're going to do. Maybe you're buying gifts. You're really trying super, super hard to get this relationship to happen, but you don't get anything back. The problem here is you're setting yourself up to experience something that's going to be really detrimental to you, because whenever we invest a bunch of time and effort into something that doesn't give us anything back, we inevitably start to feel resentful. We start to resent that thing because we feel like we've sacrificed so much. We feel like we almost deserve something back. And this is what happens with so many men, especially in the sort of darker spheres of the internet where they've just seemed to turn on women. It wasn't that they just one day decided, nah, they don't like women. What has happened is this process where they'll have grown up trying to get these girls who weren't interested in them. So they're making all of these sacrifices, but it's simply like deciding that you're going to try and push over the Eiffel Tower by hand. You are going to be absolutely exhausted by the end of that day. You are going to be pushing and pushing, but it was never going to move. It was never going to be your girlfriend. So as much as you are exhausted, you didn't really achieve anything. It was never going to happen. So you end up feeling resentful when, if you were able to divert this effort elsewhere, you would have been able to get 100 times the results for just like a quarter of the effort you put in. Because the thing is, we live in this illusion where we think if we can just spend that bit more time, if she just met up with us one more time, we did this thing, or I had a funnier joke, I had this part of me, if I get a new haircut, all of these things would lead her to taking an interest in me and her opinion would change. But it's a flawed perception, because the moment that we start to pursue somebody who isn't interested in us, it makes us even more unattractive in their eyes. Because what it communicates is the fact that you don't have any options, that this person is the only one that you could ever get, because a man who has options doesn't chase someone who isn't interested in him. It makes you look weak. It makes you look needy to pursue someone. It just says that you don't respect yourself if you think the right move here is to just pursue someone for no Just like for no relationship on the other side. It's like you don't value your time. She's watching you do all of this stuff, like you're helping her move, you're helping her when she has any problems and doing all of these things. But she knows that she's not really offering you back what you want. So then why should she? You don't respect your time. So why should she? And this causes so many problems for men because they'll get caught in this loop and it's just making things get worse and worse and worse. The more time you invest, the more unattractive you become. And no girl will ever change your mind. It doesn't happen. I have a video that I actually did of how to escape the friend zone. It was a while back, but if you're truly interested, you can check that out. I'll link that somewhere. But there is a way to escape the friend zone, and it certainly isn't pursuing someone that isn't interested in you in that way, because you will always come across weak, and it's just not a good frame for you to try and approach the world with. You end up resentful and needy. So instead, what should you do? Recognize that showing interest is a win-win scenario. Okay? So say you are interested in someone and maybe you've not communicated that super clearly, but you're also unsure of how they might feel about yourself. If you go and make your intentions clear of like, hey, I'd really like to go for a drink with you this weekend. Would you be down to do that? Or like, hey, I think you're really cute. Would you be up for grabbing a drink this weekend? Whatever it is, whatever interaction, hey, do you want to go for a walk? All you're doing is making it clear of like, hey, I actually would like to get to know you better. I'd like to do something more. And this does two things, and it allows you to win either way. A man who is clear and confident about his interest in someone is attractive because it's a vulnerable thing to put yourself out there to potentially be rejected. Oh dear. Which is a clear sign of confidence. Is confidence that you're able to be like, hey, I'm going to ask you out, and if you're not interested, that's okay. So you go in and she's going to be more attracted, and you polarize her reaction because she might just have you in this like muddy grey area of like, he's kind of okay, I'm not too sure, maybe I like him. Oh, he's interested in me. Yeah, okay, let's go for it. And this is option one, that maybe you declaring your interest will actually clear up her own mind to how she feels about you. But let's talk about option two. Option two is that you find out maybe she isn't interested, and then you get to move on. You get to move on past this relationship that was only one-sided of you trying to fall in love sooner, because so many guys get caught in this trap of chasing after the girl for months on end, even years, of that girl that if only they could truly see them. And instead, because it was never going to change, had they asked her out at the beginning, they'd have known the answer, because the answer was always there. They just hid from it. And I get it. It's like, sometimes it's nicer to stay in the illusion of maybe she'd like me one day than the reality of she probably doesn't. But it's that harsh reality that allows you to move on, because that gives you the emotional activation energy of the pain of the rejection to be like, oof, okay, I need to change here. I need to do something. I need to move on. But whilst you just leave yourself in this grey, murky area of like Schrodinger's cat of maybe the fucking relationship's there, maybe it's not, well, that will always steal you and rob you of the activation energy to go out and meet someone who could be interested, because that's the next step. Don't pursue girls that don't pursue you. That is a fundamental principle of dating, and if you can only adopt that, you'll have the relationships you want. The thing is, there are people out there that are super interested in you. There'll be people you really like as well. The ugly truth of dating that nobody wants to face is that relationships are kind of a numbers game. A lot of it is just meeting enough people that you find someone who you're compatible with. But the modern day living has just robbed us of all of those interactions, because we work from home, we watch Netflix, and we order Uber Eats. We don't have as frequent interactions, so this one-itis gets even more intensified because you don't encounter that many people anymore. So it feels like you're operating from this position of scarcity where it's like, well, fuck, Sarah's the only girl that I know, so I may as well be obsessed with her. But if you had all these other people that you were meeting up with, you wouldn't care about this girl. You wouldn't be wasting your years, your good years, chasing after someone who doesn't want you back. So one of the biggest, most important things that you can start to adopt is this mentality of only going after girls that show interest in you, that pursue you. That doesn't mean that you have to like drop your standards, because funnily enough, once you start to meet enough people, you will meet people that you really like, that seem to really like you. You happen to be their type, whilst they happen to be your type at the same time. So you meet people you can really engage with. And if you want to see how to meet people in 2024, I've actually broken this down because I know it's more difficult to meet people now, but that doesn't make it impossible. It's actually easier than you would expect. And if you can be the guy that goes over there and is able to have these interactions, you will get the relationships you want. So check out this video where I break down the best ways to meet girls in 2024 and stop chasing after those girls that will only waste your time because they were never interested in you.